You're listening to the audio portion of Workshop Wednesdays. Workshop Wednesdays is a free live discussion about topics affecting accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners. You can join the ABO group in Facebook to participate live Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Just search for ABBO in Facebook. This podcast is brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com, where you will learn, grow, and build a thriving bookkeeping practice. We have hundreds of lessons with almost every aspect of the industry. Start your free month today at Schoolofbookkeeping.com. We're doing here at the workshop. Hi, Deborah. Thanks for joining us today. And anyone else that pops in late, we'll be talking about the multiple approvals or the bill approval process inside of QuickBooks Online. They've actually added an additional functionality, and we'll unpack that. Rachel, have you ever used with your clients to set up the workflow automation in advance with the approval process, or has that ever come up with the talkings of your clients?
No, that's never come up for me or any of our clients. I wouldn't be opposed to using it, though. I definitely want to see how it works.
Yeah, so the big thing is, in the grand scheme of things, it works best with the Elite Bill Pay service. It's not required to use that, but definitely with QuickBooks Online Advanced, right? Because that's one of the key functions or key feature sets with QuickBooks Online Advanced is the workflow automation. Now, when you add on the additional option of the Elite Bill Pay service, you're going to add in that functionality with approvals with automatic bill pay, right? So essentially, you can set up your bills, your invoices, estimates, purchase orders, anything in the purchasing lifecycle and the sales lifecycle that needs approvals can be done now inside of QuickBooks Online Advanced, right?
In the past, you're making progress. I like that a lot.
Now, in the past, you had a sequential approval process. So let me share my screen again. Hopefully it doesn't start playing the video because we've heard that enough. And let's see. All right. Window. I have too many windows open, and let's see. Oh, gosh, I have too many things. I should have closed my my extra tabs here so I know which one it is. Let's see here. Not that one. Not Claude. Not this. Not Finder Windows. Okay. Fine. All right. We're just going to do the entire screen. I really, okay, so that we don't want that. Move that out of the way. Is this too big?
I can barely see it.
Okay. Is the screen or what I'm sharing too big? Because situated myself at Teresa's workstation, which has this 36-inch monitor.
Yeah, it would be better if we could actually see that flow chart through.
The whole thing. Let me stop sharing. Let me throw it over here, and I'll switch things around here. Stop. Where'd you go? Oh my goodness. Stop. Not there. Okay. I'll move this over here. Make it bigger. Share again. This way over here. All right. I'm sharing it again, but
definitely better. Definitely better.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I should be able to zoom in. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So let's pop this over here so I can start fresh. So workflow automations is this little lightning bolt upper right when you're in QuickBooks Online Advanced, and as an accountant using Intuit Accountant Suite with that's going to have these full automations as part of your firm practice as well. So you click on that little lightning bolt here in the global search up at the top, and that brings up these templates that are already pre-built, and your
Can I also
workflows.
just add, I know that we're looking at this in QBO, but I use a lot of their apps as well. And every app worth its weight at this point has automations. And if it doesn't, then they're in big trouble. So these are so important. And the fact that QBO now has these and it has them quite advanced that I can see, this is not only is it incredible, this means that they really are keeping up with some of these other advanced tools that are out there. I'm quite impressed.
Yeah, and when this first originally came out, I believe in 2018, there was it's come a long way since those, what is it? Oh, it's been 8 years now since QBO Advanced came out, and the workflows were part of that. So the pre-built templates that were in there were very slim pickings, right?
Yeah, they were pretty. I think a lot of them were limited to notifications and things like that, not necessarily doing things. And this is because I was even in there like a few months ago, and I don't feel like there were as many as they recently have. And the fact that it can really do these is pretty. There, you can tell they're stepping up their game.
Yes, and you can see, so by the drop down, when you create your own workflow automation, you're going to have the record or the transaction type that you can create workflow automations around. And depending on the transaction type is going to determine what that action is able to do, right? So if you're familiar with using Zapier, right, you've got this trigger, some kind of action that's going to trigger a response, and then you're able to build the action that's taken from that triggering event, right? In this case, when we're talking about approvals, you're going to see this little icon here for approvals based off of the transaction type that you choose, right? So when I choose the different between invoice and bill, you can see the actions that are able to be, that QuickBooks is able to automate is different based on the transaction type.
Yeah.
So looking for approvals, right? Bill payment does have an approval with, as long as they're using bill pay, the QuickBooks bill pay service has an option for approvals. Estimates has an option for approvals. Purchase orders has an option for approvals. But as soon as we get into things like statements, we only have the action, scheduled actions, or report, we have a scheduled action, right? So looking at let me close out of this real quick here. Some of the templates that are pre-built in here is scheduling and sending a report, right? So you can schedule and send a certain report on a certain day and choose who it needs to go to, what kind of format report is going to be sent. And so you have all those, variables to build in to these templates that are already there. You can have notifications go out. You can have automatic reminders go out. Sending of transaction types that can be built in there, and these can be brought into or assigned tasks to individual persons that are users inside of QuickBooks. So then you can manage their tasks and workflows as well, right? As all part of that workflow automation. But back to approval here. So let's just go into a bill, and we're going to set up an approval workflow. It's going to bring in this conditional flowchart, right? So in this point, we start with, and these are all customizable and editable. So a triggering event is a bill is created or edited, and if the amount is between 0 and 1,000, then yes, it's going to go request approval from. Now, this is where you're able to customize who needs to approve said things when the answer is yes, right? So it's only between 0 and then 100, and it's going to go to these approvals. And then this is, you're going to have the drop down here. Our choices are limited in this particular example. It's Dandelion with a P for primary, and then all of the other Dandelions that are able to be approvals. And that's going to be, you're going to need to go back to the user roles and make sure that user is going to have those options for approvers, right? All company admins should have that, or you can choose bill approvals. We'll have those by default. Any other customized role that you've created, you just want to make sure that approver checkbox is there for that individual. Otherwise, you won't see them in this dropdown, right? So if I'm going to choose the Dandelion P, now if I choose another person, another Dandelion, right? This is the sequential approval, meaning that it's going to go to the first person first, or it's going to go to, and then once that person approves said bill at this point, then it's going to immediately go to the next person, right? And it's going to notify them by task, or you can choose also email for that approval option. Now,
it won't go to the second one until the first one has completed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, this is new. This drop down just to the right of that, because you can choose anyone approves, right? You can have up to 7 approvers in a block, right? So in any one block, you can have up to 7 individual approvers. Now, if it has to go to one person before it goes to the next person, then what happens when that person is not around on vacation or something like that? So that's where this concept of parallel approvals, meaning that anyone, Deborah, if you could mute yourself there, I think there's some background noise on your microphone. But if you choose this, anyone approves, then anyone in that grouping can approve it, and then before it goes to the next sequential. See, I'm just going to mute you there, Deborah, since there's a little bit of a background noise there. If you do need to say something, go ahead and just unmute yourself. But if you choose this, anyone approves, anyone who is in that anyone approves, they're now part of the approval group, so that anyone can basically speak for those users, and they qualify as the approval before it goes to the next sequential. So you can have a mixture of a group, of an approval group. So anyone in that anyone approves approver group can qualify for that before it goes to the next one if you need a sequential approval. Now, in this particular, trying to zoom out, there we go. So in this, if the bill amount in this case is between 1,001 and 5,000, then it's going to go into this bill approval. Oh, let me save it there. Oops, I got to choose anyone before I hit save. Then I go into this condition. So this being where the amount is between 1,001 and 5,000, then we need a request approval from this group, right? So this is conditional approvals as opposed to sequential approvals or parallel approvals. You can have different conditions, right? So let's go into this. Let me cancel out of this. Go back into this condition. You can add additional conditions, right? If it is a particular vendor that you want that condition to be met, or if it's a business or terms, or if it was last modified by, or it has products or services. So there's all sorts of different conditions that you can build into these approval workflows, but you're able now to make them sequential or parallel to be able to have those approvals. Now, that was a lot of information. Do I need to recover or retrace anything, Rachel? Did I cover it?
No, but remind me, this is just an advance, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. This workflow is only in advanced, or if they have elite payroll.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not elite payroll, but the elite bill pay, right? So
Yeah.
you can essentially create up these approval workflows in Plus with elite bill pay. However, this gets pretty complicated or complex when you have multiple bill pay options here, and a bill approver, excuse me, a bill approver and a bill clerk and a bill AP entry. Those are roles that are going to be added when
Yeah.
you add on the elite bill pay service, but Plus is going to be limited to 5. If you have these multiple approver or complex approval workflows, you might as well just go up to advanced, because one, it's going to include the elite bill pay service, and it's also going to give you 25 users to work with.
Yeah.
So we talked about the price increase that's going to be happening in the fall. Advanced is going to go up to, I think it's increasing $65 a month, but being that elite bill pay is going to be included, and they've cut that in half to $45, so that really softens the blow.
Yeah, and you think about the fact that so many people are using different solutions for a lot of these different things, and they're really trying to consolidate these things under one single umbrella, so that way you're paying a little bit more. Potentially you could be saving if you were spending extra on all these other apps.
We're only going to have
sorry, one more thing. I think for teams, I mean, for businesses out there that have got an AP team and that type of stuff, a payroll team or whatever, I mean, they're really trying to sell QBO as more of an ERP, obviously. And so this is definitely a step in the right direction for that.
Yeah. And it does allow you to have, if you're going back to different approver options or approver workflows, right? So if you did the elite bill pay just for the approvers, that's only going to be on the bill side of things. With advanced, you're going to have the different approver options on the sales side of things. So your estimates, your non-posting transactions, and your invoices are going to now have an approver option. And that all that means is that they don't post until they've actually gone through the approval process. This does put things in a pending state until they've been physically approved. Now, as far as whether that is there's financial impact to these transactions, I'm not 100% sure if they don't show on financial reports until they've been finally approved, but
probably
I'm going to guess that they don't show, you won't see pending transaction.
Yeah. And then I was going to ask you also, In the audit trail, does every step of the approval process get noted in the audit trail? So like
Yeah.
Bob and
Yeah.
then Frank and then Steve like approves it?
Yeah, you'll see that will be an event that will show into the audit logs. I'm going to see if I can see if
Yeah, I mean it's
filter for that.
really it's QBO is what's the word I'm thinking of? It's evolved from really just an accounting software to a firm operational system where you can really now improve the workflows and operation of your accounting department.
Yeah. I was just trying to see if we had approvers as a specific event that we could search for or filter for in the audit log. But I know that any time that there is an edit to a transaction, then it will show in the audit log as that event. But I was just hoping that you could go in and filter for approving transaction events to
Maybe not yet. Maybe I'll add
yeah.
that at some point, but you will be able, if you look at all events related to that one transaction, yeah, you'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really important because I'm just thinking if somebody says, I never approved that. Yeah, you did.
Yep. And I'm going to put in the chat here the video that Intuit creates about how to use and set up bill approval workflows, as well as the future article talking about the parallel approval option as well. With the chat, you can I can download it. I don't know. Can you see if you can download when you look at the chat for
Let me see.
on the sidebar? Like if you click on chat, there should be an option there to download if you like down there, type a message. I have an option that says download chat, but it may be because this is my website. But
you on the for the future?
no, on the in the chat, right?
Yeah.
So down at the bottom for the workshop, the meeting that we're in, where it says people chat.
Yeah, it gives me the option. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted
Yep.
to make sure that other people had that
Yep.
option if they wanted to come back in, if they're viewing it later, be able to download those links and see them later if they need to.
Cool.
So any thoughts or final thoughts on bill approvals and the approval workflow, Rachel?
No, I think it's definitely a cool addition, step in the right direction. I would hope for more features to be added in the workflow design because I love to create automations and test them out and see things working. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to add more. I know that's always a silly question to ask because then they're probably on their end going, you don't know how hard it is, and blah blah blah. Where I'm like, can't you just flip a switch? But I'm just saying it from a point of view of looking at different products. I've seen some products out there with now this AI based workflow builder where you literally just conversationally type in, build me this, build me that, build me this, when a year ago our only option was Zapier and you really had to make sure that you understood the inner workings of Zapier. And now I can create automations with so many different things and I don't even really need to understand the logic of the action and the trigger, even though I do, but I can now tell it create this and that, and really I'm just testing out a lot of stuff. So I don't know. My question would be, can I maybe add more in if you're maybe using the development tool with Claude? I don't know, maybe. that might be something interesting. But I hope at some point if they want to continue with this adding in workflow automation, my hope is that they add in a lot more where we can create and build some of these automations ourselves.
Yeah. I'm going to throw in the chat. I just did a blog article about should you or should you not connect Claude to QuickBooks, because I've seen some horror stories of people using Claude to import transactions and those types of things. And that is where I think the line in the sand with connecting Claude to QuickBooks really should be limited, right? Because pulling things out of QuickBooks is okay, but putting things into QuickBooks through Claude, there's really not the safeguards aren't necessarily there until right off the bat, right? If you're going to connect Claude to QuickBooks, just beware of
if you take any kind of course in that, which I did, and the teacher's good, which she was, they definitely really mention the sort of the green, yellow, and red boundaries that you always have to take into concern when you're connecting books. And there are many things that are just a red, like no go, you can't do it. And you really calibrate Claude and you tell it, always ask permission for this. There are certain things, just numbers that you can look at, but anything else really needs to be obscured. So there's a whole cottage industry regarding safety when it comes to that kind of thing. I was really referring more to the co-work ability of Claude, in that it's doing a function, not even necessarily looking at data, but saying with this, do that. When it sees this, do that kind of thing. But I don't even know if QuickBooks will even allow something like that. Probably not, and that's probably for the best.
It's my understanding that it doesn't necessarily, Claude isn't going to be actively monitoring stuff that happens, right?
No, it doesn't, and Claude won't really do that for anything. You have to give it the information. You have to say, pull this, then you can scan this. If you then find whatever it is, like you can build a skill, look for this, and then if you see this, then do that. So it's really, you've got to pull the information first and then do it. Claude really does not function like an automation tool. It's going to look at and then do.
Yeah, good point. And we're going to have in a couple weeks, so the next couple sessions that we're going to have is really unpacking. You alluded to, hey, QuickBooks Online is turning into an ERP, and that's the direction that they're going with the customer hub, with regards to incorporating some of the CRM functions of a CRM's functionality inside of QuickBooks. So next week we'll talk about customer reviews in the hub, and then we'll talk about leads and connecting your email to that in a few weeks. And then after that, we're actually going to have someone from Crew, one of the founders of a new utility called Accrue, that which AI tools are better, internal tools or external tools, and they'll be talking about some of those functionalities of incorporating Claude or taking a report and putting into ChatGPT, whether that's better, or if there are other tools that incorporate AI into an intelligence, for example. Is that going to have a better option or functionality inside of purpose-built AI tools as opposed to a general AI tool like Claude.
Oh, good, because
Oh,
that's right in my wheelhouse. I have been
yeah.
doing this for weeks and weeks now at this point. Which, by the way, in the AI world is, I can't really describe it. You know what I mean? It's like in AI world, weeks and weeks is like the equivalent of 4 years of learning, right? Yeah, no, because it moves so fast. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of this kind of stuff lately, and there's a lot of nuance and things that they're teaching out there, which is really cool.
Yeah. We'll continue the conversation during the workshops. On the workshop link, that's where we have our future topics. You can add them to your calendar as a alternative to getting pinged 15 minutes before we go live. You can see what those are, put them on your calendar, and then the link is there when we go live for that to occur. And we will see you next time on the workshop Wednesday, and hope everybody has. And that wraps up another insightful episode of Workshop Wednesday, brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com. We hope you enjoyed today's discussion and took away some valuable tips and strategies to enhance your bookkeeping practice. Remember, if you want to stay ahead in the world of bookkeeping and accounting, be sure to visit Schoolofbookkeeping.com. With a wide range of courses, resources, and expert guidance, you'll find everything you need to sharpen your skills and boost your career. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, please take a moment to leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. Your reviews help us reach more listeners and continue to bring you the best content every week. If you have questions or topics you'd like us to cover, reach out to us on social media or send us an email at support@schoolofbookkeeping.com. We love hearing from our listeners and are always looking for new ideas to explore. Thanks for tuning in to Workshop Wednesday. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep excelling in your bookkeeping journey. I am Dan DeLong, and we'll see you next time.